G'day, my name's Nero. I am a reptile keeper at Australia Zoo. Sadly, we have got the call the wildlife dome up in Cairns is shutting its doors and it needs to send some of its animals around Australia. So we've offered to take 4 of their freshwater crocodiles. So myself and Bruce, the head of the reptile department, along with our cameraman Lockie, started the 18-hour drive from Beerwah here at the zoo all the way up to Cairns. The transport boxes that we use were specially designed just for these freshies, so they're perfect size for them to fit in for the journey home. We are very lucky here at the zoo to have so much information passed down from Steve himself on the way that he transported crocodilians all throughout his life. So the facility that we were collecting the freshies from was located on the 2nd story of the building. So we had to make our way up in an elevator. Now things don't always go to plan, and the first elevator that we tried, the boxes just didn't fit. So we had to make our way to the service elevator, which was much larger, and we were able to bring the boxes up to the 2nd level. So once we arrived at the facility, we checked out the different habitats that the freshies were housed in with Dan, who was helping us out. Made a plan to make sure that we could safely, for ourselves and the freshies, collect them and bring them back to the zoo. So even though these freshwater crocodiles are a lot smaller than some of the crocodiles we have here at the zoo, we still want to make sure that we do everything as safely as possible and take everything super seriously. So the plan's in place, let's get to work. So first up, we had our 2 adult freshies. When we went into the habitat, they were situated underneath a fake rock. So we decided to go straight to them. We used the same methods that Steve-O taught the team here at the zoo. So typically with most animals, sedation is a great option, but it is not a good option with reptiles. A lot riskier, as they don't metabolize that sedation in the same way that mammals do. So this method of using the top jaw rope is the safest for both us and the animal. The male was moved first, and his move went very smoothly. A few small death rolls, but then he went straight into the box, which made it very easy for us.
Okay, good.
And then next up, we moved the female. Now she had a much bigger personality than the male did. It took a little bit more effort to get her into the box. She did a fair few more death rolls. Now it is pretty common when we do top jaw rope that the instinct kicks in and they start to death roll. Now the death roll is where they roll on their axis to try and disorientate their prey. But after she did those death rolls, she then slid nicely into the transport box. Once the move for the adults was successful, we then moved on to the small little baby freshwater crocodiles. Now they were of the size that we could easily just pick them up and move them straight into their transport box without having to use a top jaw rope. When the freshies are picked up at that juvenile size, they tend to make quite a large squeaking sound, and that's just the way that they can communicate with each other. So we're all super happy that the move went super smoothly and very quickly, and we could put them straight into the box, take them down the elevator and put them straight in the croc cruiser, head back to the zoo. So now it's time to hit the road and head back to the zoo in Biwa. Now Cairns is located pretty much right at the top of Queensland. So it's about a 1,600 kilometre or 1,000 mile journey back to the zoo. So we're right back at Australia Zoo to release the 4 freshies into their new temporary habitats up at the Crocodile Rescue Unit. The rest of the reptile team came up and we made a bit of a plan that we could safely introduce them into their 2 habitats. Now, with the baby freshwater crocodiles being so small, we had to make sure that we child-proofed the habitat to make sure they couldn't squeeze out any little holes. Our vet Sam arrived to check over the freshwater crocodiles, give them a bit of a health check to make sure that they were happy and healthy, but also to take some weights and measurements to check for any previous microchips, which they did not have. So we then gave them some microchips of our own. Now, we microchip animals here at the zoo to make sure that we can identify each individual, especially when they're quite young and they're quite hard to tell apart. Now, after all that, myself and Chandler were ready to introduce them into their new habitat. They went straight into their new pond and they found themselves at home straight away.
There you go, buddy.
So then it came time for the adults, which we took weights on, and then we introduced them one by one into their new habitat. Both of them slid straight out of their transport boxes and settled straight into their new habitat. The male freshwater crocodile still had a part of the top jaw rope attached to him, so he was happy enough for me to just flick it off so he could go on his way. With the relocation and introduction to the new habitats at Australia Zoo, everything was a complete success, and we have some pretty grand plans coming up for these freshies in the future.